Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I'm your host Eric Smith, and today I'm talking about the movie Ant-Man. I'm recording this early Saturday evening, so the movie just came out yesterday. I saw it very early yesterday morning because my weird work schedule. I thought it was best to catch a 10:30 in the morning show. But for those of you who don't know, those 2 or 3 people out there who aren't familiar with the movie, haven't seen any of the trailers, basically, bare bones, ex-con Scott Lang has been recruited by Hank Pym to become Ant-Man, and he's going to have to break into Pym Enterprises, or Industries, or whatever it's called, and steal some stuff and save the world. That's as nutshell as you can get. But this is a really great, fun summer comic book superhero movie. You've got Paul Rudd playing Scott Lang, and he's as charming and funny as he ever is. He does a really great job. He's doesn't go overboard as he does sometimes. I think he plays it just right. Michael Douglas is Hank Pym, the old distinguished retired scientist slash superhero, and really does a fantastic job in this role. I haven't seen a lot from Michael Douglas lately, so it's nice to see him come back and really knock it out of the park with this one. Evangeline Lilly plays Hope Van Dyne. She's Hank's daughter. And she's an actress that I'm not a fan of. I don't dislike her. She's just there. I haven't seen a lot of stuff that she's done. And so I'm not, Evangeline Lilly is in it, I've got to see it. And of course I'm also not, oh my god, Evangeline Lilly's in it, I don't want to see that. So, but she does a perfectly fine job in this. Maybe I will start searching her out a little more. I liked what she did with the character. Corey Stoll, if that's how you say his name, he plays Darren Cross / Yellow Jacket. He's a good evil character, does a fine job. His character may be a little underdeveloped, but Corey Stoll does a fine job with what he's got to work with. The breakout is, I think, Michael Pena as Luis. Just absolutely hilarious character, and Michael Pena does a fantastic job with it. Really a lot of fun. I'd say the biggest laughs probably come from his character. And you put all these people together in a movie directed by Peyton Reed, who, as far as I know, is primarily a comedy director. I've seen a few of the things that he's done. Of course, to me, the biggest standout, or maybe the best known, I don't know if standout's necessarily the right word, but he's the director of Bring It On, which, on paper, it's a high school cheerleading competition movie, but it's actually quite an entertaining film, despite the young woman that stars in it, who I'm not a fan of. But anyway, so Peyton Reed does a fantastic job with this. Marvel is really good at picking directors for their movies when they can keep them around. I'm not going to get into the whole Edgar Wright thing right here. Peyton Reed does a fine job. That's all that really needs to be said. Don't need to talk about Edgar Wright. So it's very much worth your time and your money. It's a heist movie. It's a training movie. I mean, technically it's an origin story, but Ant-Man already exists. We don't see the creation of Ant-Man, which is why I say technically it's an origin story. We don't see anybody getting bit by a radioactive spider or building technology or taking a super soldier serum. The Ant-Man already exists. The technology is already there. We are just seeing the next guy in line being trained to use it. So, slightly different than your typical origin story. You may recognize part of the plot as that of the first Iron Man movie, because it's basically the same bare bones that it's been built on, maybe. You've got somebody who creates this amazing technology, and somebody else who wants to recreate that technology and use it for profit and evil. And it's very, very much the same thing that went on in the first Iron Man movie. The only real difference is, as far as this little bit goes, is that in Iron Man you had the older, it was the younger protege character, Tony Stark, who created this amazing technology, and the older mentor figure who tried to steal it or recreate it and use it for his own ends. And in Ant-Man, it's kind of switched. It's the older mentor character who created it and the younger protege guy who wants to use it for his own nefarious purposes. But aside from that little tiny bit, it's not that similar to Iron Man at all. Again, I think even funnier than Iron Man, definitely. And a lot of training. Yes, in Iron Man we see Tony Stark learning to use the armor. In this, we have someone already familiar with the technology, Hank Pym, someone who's used it, training a new person to use it. And a lot of laughs in the training. This is also very much a story of fathers and daughters. Scott Lang has a young daughter, Cassie, and being an ex-con, being divorced from Cassie's mother, Scott doesn't have any set in stone visitation. He doesn't get to see his daughter as often as he wants. Doesn't really get to be a big part of her life, and that's what motivates him to get his life on track, to help Hank Pym when the opportunity arises. It's all because he loves his daughter. He wants to provide for her. He wants to be the best father he can be for little Cassie. And then you've got Hank Pym and Hope Van Dyne. They have a very tumultuous relationship, and Hank wants to make amends. He wants to repair those bridges and have a relationship with his daughter. So there's a lot of that in this movie. I would say it's subtext, but I'm pretty sure it's just text. There's nothing sub about it, but it is a nice theme in here. So a lot going on, but nothing overwhelming. Of a much, much lighter movie than Avengers Age of Ultron, so it's nice that Marvel can still put out these fun movies. Special effects and the action sequences in this are fantastic. I love a lot of the stuff they do with the ants. I'm not going to get into any details, but there's some really, really cool things going on with the ants and how Scott Lang works with them. And you know, when the first trailers for this started coming out, I heard a lot of people talking about how silly it looked and, you know, what can an ant guy do and the ants and blah, blah, blah. Trust me, it all works. Go and see it. Have a good time. It all makes sense. Just a lot of fun. I'm going to say Guardians of the Galaxy is still my favorite Marvel movie at this point. I still think Captain America Winter Soldier is the best Marvel movie. Just all around. That's the top movie. I personally like Guardians more just because of the characters and everything. But this, I think Ant-Man is way up there. It's really, really fun. There's a mid-credits scene and a post-credits scene, and they are both worth staying for. I'm not going to say anything at all about them except you're going to want to stay and see them. Oh, there's a lot of cameos in this movie. One, if you've seen any of the recent trailers, the one isn't going to surprise you at all. But there were some very surprising cameos, people that I didn't realize were going to be in the film. And there are some nice references that, you know, tie it in with everything else. Some very smart-ass references that tie it in with the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I like that. I was actually surprised by someone who's in the movie at the end. So I'm not going to talk about the other cameos. I want you to be as surprised as I was if you don't already know who they are. But there's a young woman who I know from her stuff on YouTube. I don't know her personally. I know of her and her work. Her name is Akana, and she is a very smart, very funny young woman. She's a writer and a director and an actress. I was looking at her IMDb page, and there's a lot of stuff that she's done that I wasn't even aware of. As I said, I basically know her from her YouTube stuff. She's got some very funny and insightful videos on YouTube. I know she does stand up. And I'm kind of kicked back, relaxed, enjoying the movie. And at the end, when I saw her on screen, I kind of perked up a little bit. And I said, hey, that's Akana. She's in a Marvel movie. That's fantastic. So it was very, very nice to see that. So I'll have a link for her YouTube channel in the description below. If I can't link the actual channel, I'll link a couple of her videos so that everybody can watch her stuff and support her. It was really cool to see her in a big Marvel movie, and I liked, you know, I like a lot of stuff on YouTube. I subscribe to a lot of people, and I try to support them when I can. So I'm going to throw this out there. It was just really nice to see her, and very surprising. So since I'm not, this isn't a book review, I'm not going to link to where you can buy anything. I'll put links for Akana down there, so hopefully some people will check her out. Anyway, all right. I feel like I'm getting off track here. Lots of cool cameos, great special effects, great performances. I give this 4 out of 5. I don't have any drawings that I'm going to hold up. I save that for the books people. You don't need any of those fancy drawings I do for my ratings. But 4 out of 5, definitely. Again, if Captain America Winter Soldier is a 5 out of 5, Guardians would be a 4 3/4 probably out of 5. So Ant-Man, maybe even 4.5 out of 5 for Ant-Man. It's really, really good. I'm already can't wait for it to come out on Blu-ray so I can pick it up, and hopefully they'll load it with extras. But I highly recommend it. Go out and see it. It's worth the time. It's worth the money. I saw it in 2D. I don't know that you necessarily need to see it in IMAX or in 3D. So just go see it. Go see Ant-Man. Support the smaller Marvel characters. No pun intended. Okay, pun may be intended. So yeah, that's it. That's my review for the Ant-Man movie. It's really, really good stuff. What else needs to be said? I'm Eric Smith. This is the Low Budget Review Show. And until next time, read more books.